BBAI has rebounded from the sellers, gaining that control. We found that bottom right at the top of this candle here, aiding that gap up, which has led us to two very nice green days in a row, pushing us right back above this zone. And should we expect buyers to continue their movement, reaching the top of that 787 and the $8 psychological level, retesting these highs here, trying to break through and test that ultimate 1036? Or is it time that sellers step in and continue their movement down as we've gotten in a little bit of a descending range? Now, guys, this support has held up very nice. Like we touched on the last BBAI video, we've gotten that nice gap up, found that support of 622, and that rough area has held up pretty nicely. We've gotten that rejection, came back down to the floor, got that nice support level bounce, kind of double topped around that area, but then we came back down roughly around that area, right? A little bit different, kind of around this gap up candle, the top of this candle here, say roughly that 606 level. Nevertheless, the region that support was in, gotten that bounce there, and now we've trended higher. Got back within this zone here and looking pretty nice to the top, trying to retest that 787 slash that $8 psychological level. Looking very probable for another retest of these highs here, where we either break or we get another rejection, where if we get another rejection, then you could be seeing price kind of falling down from there. All right, guys, now on the weekly chart, we see that BBAI is no stranger to these big moves up and down. As we've covered in each BBAI video, this move that we see here is a bit different than every other move. We see in the past, IPO range, get that move up. Sellers try to bring it down, move up to all-time highs of 1612, and then every other time we've gotten a very drastic move up, gotten pretty much that full retracement back down. Hold a bit higher here, over here, get that move up, full retracement. More recently, get that move up, full retracement. But then volume really seeps in here, so buying interest and overall market presence really increases. We get all-time high volumes as we're trending around that big move up as of more recently. But if we see this move right here, the once breakout level type of price action, we see as more of a energy building kind of volatile range here, and then it leads to this breakout to that 1036. And from that point, we come back down and we do something very similar, kind of bottom right around that range of 237, and then we get a nice energy building phase right back up. And then similar to what we saw right here, guys, we get that very nice move up, hold a bit lower, that topping around that $870 level. But instead of crashing back down like we're so used to seeing on BBAI, we kind of hold there. We test around that zone. We find an obvious formation zone. The $6 psychological level being the ultimate bottom and holding for 6 weeks now within this general formation. So definitely different price action than what we're used to seeing. And we've just recently gotten all-time highs on the volume. See, as we kind of chop sideways on the weekly, volume is decreasing. What I see here is a recipe for a big move soon, right? That drying up volume, kind of chopping sideways right after a breakout. Definitely a recipe for a big pop in volume soon and a big move up or down. Looking good for the buyers here, as they did not let the sellers fully retrace it as we're so used to seeing. All right, guys, on the daily, we see that nice move up to that 872, getting out of that energy building phase there and getting that nice movement up, right? We kind of wick over that spot, that 872 being that ultimate high that we get there. Form this pennant-like structure. So we do bounce around that 622. From that gap up, bounce there, come back down, bounce there, kind of find a little bit of a support and a resistance. And this is where we kind of found a pennant. So we predict that there's a possibility we could squeeze out of this thing. We're either going to the upside or the downside. Sellers end up winning that battle, flushing us down, getting 5 red days in a row with ultimate seller control. We get pushed under that 622, but we hit right around the top of that breakout candle, around that 606 to $6 psychological level. So we get a nice moving up, pushing us right above that 622 and towards the middle of this kind of chop range. So yes, bad sign that we kind of flushed that support, but very nice reaction from the buyers. And given that we still are in a breakout kind of zone here, definitely looking nice for a retest of that top. I think we do get, and what I predict is that we do get a retest of that 787 and possible 872 range. And if we can finally break this overall range, guys, we definitely look nice to a retest of that $10 level, that being the peak of the last run up here. We've obviously created new price action. We've kind of chopped around for a bit of time instead of getting a very nice move up and a retracement. The volume was at all-time highs. We've really dried up here. So if we can continue to finally get volume to flush in once again, reaching those all-time high levels, definitely looking nice for a squeeze up as we've kind of chopped around. Found that rough bottom for the 3rd time. So the next week or two of price action is going to be huge. I think that we do test the top, but if we get a rejection here for the 3rd time, I would be a little surprised if that support held up once again. Definitely a possibility, but I think that this is the point where we get a nice movement up. Finally breaking over this, seeing some new price action. Do we have to hit the 1036 before, finding a pullback? Not necessarily, but would be nice to see buyers push this thing higher, finding new highs, getting over that 872 level, bringing us to around that $9 psychological level and close to a retest of that 1036. I think we look good here, guys. We needed that bounce, as we said in the last video. If we didn't get that bounce there, wouldn't be looking good for the buyers. Definitely would be looking like we would be getting that retracement like move, whether we hold a bit higher or go all the way back down. But buyers stepped in right when they needed to step in, and we definitely look good for that retest here, liking what I'm seeing. Now on the hourly, we see that break of that kind of support level there. Flush that, get to the bottom. So price ultimately hit that 601 cent above that psychological $6 level. Buyers step in right when they have to step in. You see a very nice green wide bar on the hourly. Sellers try to step in, they cannot. You see a double in size green wide bar, really showing that buyers are stepping in. A little bit of indecision as we kind of chopped in this range before getting that move down. And then very drastic green wide bar showing that shift in momentum. Buyers really gaining that control, pushing us above that 674 and to around that middle of the range, middle of that chop range. And we see a smaller kind of reaction from the sellers. So to me, I think we are getting a little bit of a stair step pattern here. I think we're going to keep on getting these smaller retracements, push higher, smaller retracement, push higher to the top of that zone. Trying to break through that and that $8 psychological level. Hourly kind of correlates with the daily, what we're seeing here. Nice reaction from the buyers. If they can correct this overall move right here, definitely looking nice for a retest and a possible break. So chart's pretty self-explanatory, guys. We still are in this breakout type of zone, technically speaking. Price action has changed, but we are still very, very volatile. Now, I think it's extremely likely that we get a retest of that zone, given how the buyers have reacted here. If we do reject at the top of that zone again, not a good sign, right? As if we continue to reject, sooner than later, we're probably going to get that pullback. But I think we are headed for that zone. And if buyers can really push through, volume can seep in here. I think very much a possibility that we get above those previous highs and kind of retest at 1036. So we definitely remain bullish on BBAI. Things kind of gearing up here, energy building in this kind of breakout range. And I think that we do get that move past those levels and to that 1036. Now, let me know in the comments below what you guys have for price predictions. And if you guys want to see more BBAI content, make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate you all making it to the end of the video. And as always, trade smart. I will see you all in the next one.